Hello! Thank you for joining us today to learn about AYTM logic and how it can help you gain the insights you need from your consumers and clients. So what are we going to learn today? Well, I'm going to show you how AYTM logic can help you get exactly the data you need from your consumers and clients. First, we'll go over what we mean by logic, then we'll talk about what it can do and give you a sneak peek of how to take it to the next level. Finally, we'll wrap up by sharing some resources that can help you use logic in your own surveys. By the end, we hope you'll see how you can conduct complex market research and analysis using our platform on your own without being an expert. What do we mean at AYTM when we talk about logic? Logic is how you make the AYTM survey platform dance to your specific tune. It's a simple yet powerful way to program surveys on our platform so that respondents have a customized experience. Logic allows you to design the flow of your survey so that respondents give you the data you need. I mentioned a few times that AYTM logic controls the flow of your survey. What does that mean exactly? Well, the flow of a survey is essentially the path, the dance moves the respondent will take when completing your survey. In technical terms, we call it logic because you, as the survey designer, use programming to control what the platform will do when certain criteria is met. For example, maybe you want respondents to be randomly assigned to one of 3 possible paths in your survey, as shown here. Or maybe, depending on the answer they choose in a given question, they'll be ejected from the survey or shown a whole new set of additional questions. These are common scenarios and reasons to use logic. But don't be nervous that I said programming. It's easier than you think. So are you ready to see how easy it is? Let's dance. Square, brackets. It's that simple. No clicking around menus, no changing screens, no hunting for survey flow controls while forgetting which questions you needed to include in the first place. Not when you use AYTM logic. Without skipping a beat, and within the context of any question before or after your question text, you simply type a left bracket to start a logic statement, type the command you need to change the flow of the survey, and type a right square bracket to close the statement. The magic happens within. Logic statements are invisible to respondents, so you can put them anywhere that makes sense for your survey flow. Hang on though, where can you find the list of commands for using logic? Don't worry, we'll get to that before the end. First, let's look at some of the ways you can make surveys dance using AYTM logic commands. And please remember to ask questions as we go along. You won't interrupt. Your questions will be answered personally and as quickly as possible. One of the things logic can do is skip questions. The skip to command is really useful when you want to direct respondents to jump ahead to a new section of the survey based on their answers. It bypasses all the questions in between where they meet the criteria and where you tell them to end up. Here are a few examples on the screen, and I'll show you visually how this alters your survey flow. In the third example, our respondent chooses answer 2 from question 5. And now because of our logic command, questions 6 and 7 are not shown to them. They land straight on question 8 and continue as normal. See how their path changed? A typical use for skip logic is to avoid showing respondents questions that don't apply to them. Next up, show, hide, and mask are other very handy ways to choreograph your survey flow. Both show and hide are variations on skip logic. They allow you to control when respondents do or don't see a particular question or answer option. Our mask by command is a little more complex, but I'll show you what it does. Here we ask the respondent which of these kind of pets they have. They can choose multiple answers because it's a checkbox question. In the third question, Q3, we want to know how many of each of the pets they chose in question 1 they have. So we use mask by Q1 to only show them their selected answers from question 1 as options in this question, question 3. But how do you know it works? Use preview. So here you can see that I previewed my survey, and pretending to be a respondent, I selected only cats. In the next question I'm shown, which is the one that had that mask by Q1 logic command in it, I'm only asked about how many cats I have. Because if I had any dogs, I would have mentioned them previously. Mask by logic can save you a lot of time by not having to make a series of show if or hide if commands, and it streamlines the survey experience by keeping the options relevant to your respondents. Piping logic doesn't have any commands associated with it, like skip, show, hide, or mask. Instead, it's a way to make a direct reference to something that came before, to call it onto the dance floor and set it in motion. Using square brackets, you can pull in question text, answer text, and more wherever you need it. Let's see what I mean. Piping logic was actually snuck into the last example. You might have noticed that question 3 had an answer option with square brackets in it. And you might have also been wondering what happened to question 2. Let's dig a little deeper to find out. So here's question 2. Notice that it has show if in the question text. What does this mean? Show if Q1 A8. Going back to question 1, answer 8, we see it was an other answer option. So if respondents said the kind of pet they have is other, we want to know what that is, and that's where question 2 comes in. We ask them to tell us right here in an open-ended question. Then their response on question 2 is piped in to question 3. Let's go back. Using the reference here, Q2R. In other words, if the respondent selected other on question 1, and in question 2 they told us they have a pet monkey, this answer number 8 would display monkey and allow them to select how many monkeys they have. Pretty neat, isn't it? You can use piping logic anywhere, and you can make references to question text, answer text, selected answers, and open-ended responses. The next thing I want to show you is group logic. Group logic is easiest explained with a visual. What it does is create groups of questions that can be used as branches of your survey. It's another shortcut rather than using multiple skip or show hide logic commands in a bunch of questions. You can create those groups in advance and tell the survey platform exactly how you want the dance performed. Let's look at an example. Here, we're telling the survey to group questions 1, 2, and 3 together, and questions 4, 5, and 6 together, but separately. And we're also letting it know that we want respondents to only see randomly one of those 2 groups. That's the max 1 part at the end. What will happen? If our survey has, let's say, 7 questions in total, and we use this logic, when respondents enter the survey, they'll be taken down one of 2 paths, either questions 1 through 3 or questions 4 through 6. Either way, they'll end up on question 7 when it's over, because that's the next available question for them based on this logic. See how that works? This is great for certain kinds of concept testing where you want random assignment to one or more sets of questions about a product or label or something similar. Okay, we've covered some of the basic survey flow operations so that you know what logic can do for you. And using skip, show hide, piping, and group logic is likely to satisfy the majority of your needs, but what if you want to build something more complex? AYTM logic can do much, much more than what we've seen here, and can take your survey from a simple dance to an intricate ballet using custom variables, calculations, referencing our panel demographic data or metadata from the user session, or simply by layering multiple levels of logic within a single survey. Almost anything is possible. Now let me share with you some of the resources we have for using logic and where you can get help when you need it. So, the easiest way to get help when writing logic commands is within the survey editor itself. By clicking on the plus sign in the square brackets, the built-in logic guide will pop open on the right side, and you can search for commands or even populate fully built example questions of many common logic statements into your survey. You can then easily modify them to fit your own questions. Don't forget that we start giving you help the minute you open a square bracket to start typing a command. You'll be prompted with autocomplete options to help you quickly write your statements without needing to reference guides. Aside from the help you can find within your survey building interface, here are some of our available resources specifically for using logic. And of course, if you ever need help while working with AYTM, you can always reach out to our chat support directly on the website, which is available 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern.